A politically charged Nobel acceptance speech, a comic book sensation direct from Japan, and iconic photographer Steve McCurry shows a career's worth of images here in Paris. That's all coming up in today's show. We're starting with author Abdulrazak Gurna, who delivered his Nobel lecture this week as the winner of this year's prize for literature. And he was swift to bring politics to the table, criticising the UK government's response to the death of 27 refugees in the English Channel. He also voiced concerns about deep inequalities when it comes to the global pandemic. The Zanzibari writer moved to the UK in the 1960s and was a professor of English literature at the University of Kent for more than 30 years. Yet he's not been officially congratulated by the government for this prestigious prize, as he explains here.
I think quite a lot of the response to the award of the prize has been to celebrate the award to an African writer. So it's possible that that could be the explanation, that they don't quite see this writer as somebody to whom they owe congratulations.
To the world of comics and graphic novels now, as a special new edition of the manga series One Piece hits the shelves. It's the 100th volume of the adventures of the pirate Luffy, as imagined by the Japanese author and illustrator Eiichiro Oda. Renaud Lefort and Leo McGuinn have this report.
One Piece. If you've never heard of it, you don't live on planet manga. One Piece, like the name of a treasure sought by a somewhat wacky pirate, Luffy. It's the fans who talk about it the best.
He's a pirate, and he must train his crew to become the king of pirates.
The crew that has been formed, we really feel the friendship over the years.
I really like the characters, and I like the story a lot because it's still going and it keeps going, and I think that's really fun.
What I like about the author's message is that in the end, we aren't really good guys or bad guys. They're just characters chasing their dreams.
A dream, that of the brilliant Japanese author Eiichiro Oda. His shonen, a manga category aimed at young teenage boys, dates from 1997. And it is quite simply the best-selling manga in history, with almost 500 million sales. That passion is shared in France. Since 2011, 26 million copies sold, and counting. In bookstores this Wednesday, the 100th volume has just been published.
You
should know in the universe of One Piece there is a title called The Emperors, who are the strongest pirates. And it turns out that Luffy and his crew do not face an emperor, but two emperors. What we see with this 100th volume is that we are at the climax of the confrontation, and the stakes have never been so high. So suddenly, we want to know how it will progress. If the French are also fans, it's because beyond entertainment, this literary gem offers several levels of reading.
In
these extremely varied stories, the world gains in depth with power struggles over the navy, over certain privateers, and also with issues that can be considered as political, such as human exploitation, slavery, colonization, industrialization, which are all themes that we can become aware of when we read the manga. If you're not yet satisfied after reading the manga, a film is set to be released in 2022, and in the meantime, you can always watch the 1,000 episodes of the cartoon. One thing is certain, Luffy is not yet a retired pirate.
Vous êtes prêts? Moi qui dis Luffy, je serai le roi des pirates!
His photos put humanity front and centre, be it in times of war or peace. Steve McCurry's image of a young Afghan girl made the cover of National Geographic magazine in the 1980s, catapulting him to fame and bringing the conflict there to the world's attention. Since then, the photojournalist has captured faces, figures and landscapes across the globe. Now, the Mayol Museum in Paris is paying tribute to him in an exhibition entitled The World of Steve McCurry. We got a chance to sit down with him at the show, where he told us about capturing the human spirit in his images.
Well, when you're in a difficult situation, I'm thinking about kind of being under fire in Afghanistan, and how you're there. Sometimes the strangest thing, the acts of kindness and humor will occur at the oddest times. And I think that it's, for me, it's always such a surprise when in a difficult situation, when the human spirit is being crushed, somebody will step forward and bring a bit of lightness to the situation. I guess I'm looking for these glimmers of hope and optimism.
And you can watch our full interview with Steve McCurry here on France 24 on December 17th. Next, in Barcelona, the city's iconic Sagrada Familia cathedral has just unveiled a new tower, complete with a twinkling star on top. It's the tallest so far of the building's 9 completed towers, although who knows if it's to be the last. The monument is still under construction nearly 140 years after the mammoth project started. Claire Rush tells us more.
Reaching 138 meters into the sky, the Sagrada Familia's 9th and newest tower, dedicated to the Virgin Mary. It's the cathedral's tallest tower for now, but once finished, it will be the 2nd highest of the 18 total planned by Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí, who began working on the basilica in 1883. Nearly 140 years on, it's still a work in progress. Jordi Fowley is now the 7th architect to oversee its long-awaited completion.
When I arrived, construction had begun on only 3 of the columns you see behind me, on the west side, and only the first 10 meters.
Despite the advancements, the cathedral's construction board has abandoned the goal of completing it by 2026, the 100th anniversary of Gaudí's death. The coronavirus pandemic has dealt a serious blow to the monument's revenue. With its doors shut for almost a year, it was deprived of ticket sales, one of the main sources of funding for the ongoing building works.
We had to stop the works. We went almost a year without visitors. There were some donations, but without the important revenue from visitors, we were left with a somewhat uncertain future. At that moment, the construction company decided, as it had at other critical moments, to say, well, we have a few euros saved. Let's use that to finish a tower.
Tenemos unos euros ahorrados. Pues con esto vamos a acabar una torre.
With the vast amount of work remaining to be done, Fowley may not be able to oversee the Sagrada Familia's completion, but the 62-year-old and his team of architects and builders are determined to bring Gaudí's vision to life.
And to another scintillating skyline now, a little closer to home in Lyon. Paris might be known as the City of Lights, but there's stiff competition from the southeastern town, which has been lit up every December for almost 150 years now. The illuminations often take the form of sophisticated projection mappings, highlighting points of architectural interest or creating entirely original light installations. Selena Sykes has the story.
The city of Lyon sparkling once again. The lights are back on at the Fête de Lumière, a new discovery for some visitors.
Unbelievable. I think it's very nice. The lights are beautiful. It's been very interesting. It's a great show. I find it very enjoyable to watch.
For 4 nights, public buildings, town squares and parks are transformed into dazzling canvases for 27 light installations. This year's show is going ahead despite a spike in COVID-19 cases. It was cancelled in 2020 because of the pandemic. Masks are compulsory and health passes are required for indoor installations. Despite the restrictions, locals are happy to see the spectacle back after a year's absence.
There are lots of illuminations, and it's nice that people can come together despite the hardships of this last year and still be able to discover Lyon through the light show.
The 20-year festival was inspired by a tradition in Lyon which started in the Middle Ages and that many locals still follow today. On the 8th of December, residents place candles outside their windows in tribute to the Virgin Mary. Visitors have until Saturday evening to admire the illuminations.
In New York, a new exhibition at the Met Museum is taking a look at the links between the animation of Walt Disney and the decorative arts here in France. It explores the aesthetic influences of French art movements on the man who was to become the king of animated features, as well as his fascination with traditional European fairy tales like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Beauty and the Beast. From tapestries to porcelain, the objects in this show evoke a folkloric, flamboyant universe, which the curators say is more about engaging our hearts than our heads.
The key parallel in the rhetoric of Disney animation and Rococo decorative arts is that they address our emotions and not our intellect. And to remind ourselves, because in the study of decorative arts, that these are objects that are supposed to give pleasure.
And just like that, they were back. Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte are once again bringing the Big Apple to our TV screens, and sex is certainly on the agenda. The Sex and the City foursome is now a threesome, with Samantha Jones absent from this reboot, which hits screens this week. The original series ran for 6 seasons between 1998 and 2004, with 2 spin-off films after that. We'll leave you with a taste of this new show. Otherwise, do remember to check out our website for more arts and culture, and we're on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.
How many dating apps are you on?
I'm just waiting for someone to create a dating site that's called Here's the Man You've Been Searching for, Seema.
This is X, Y, and me. What about you, Carrie? Have you ever masturbated in a public place?
Not since Barney's closed. Oh, honey, I'm home.
I remember when you kept your sweaters in the stove.
There are always going to be roads not taken.
So you can't have it all?
No, you can. It's just really hard.